broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey there, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans! Welcome to another edition of the AfterBuzz After Show. How are you guys doing?
Better now.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you for that theme.
We are here tonight to talk about Season 2, Episode 16, Afterlife. If you guys haven't done so already, we would love it if you could go ahead and run to iTunes and rate and subscribe. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Leave a comment. We love hearing from you guys. And we are actually keeping an eye on the live chat on YouTube.
You know it.
Any news from the live chat?
Not yet. I haven't even read it yet.
Okay.
Anyway,
Just get started.
We're keeping an eye on that, and we're also keeping an eye on Twitter with the hashtag ABTVShield. And you can also tweet at us directly. Let me go ahead and introduce my fantastic panel, Jesse Klein.
Hey everyone, you can find me at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1.
Zach Wilson.
You guys can tweet at me throughout the show and throughout the week at that Zach Wilson.
Joyce Ajouri.
Same here. You guys can find me on Twitter at JAJOURI.
And I'm Megan. You can follow me on Twitter at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. Guys, Deathlock!
Well, at first, my mind first went to May. I was like, wow, she's really strong.
How'd she get there so quick?
And then as we slowly saw Mike Peterson's face get revealed, I was like, hell yes. That's amazing.
Guys, I wish you could have seen it. There are times where I do wish we were taping our reactions or streaming our reactions, because when they revealed Deathlock, we just lost it.
Went crazy.
I mean,
so
maybe
great.
we'll just Periscope our reaction.
What's Periscope?
We should. Speaking of which, you just did earlier.
Yeah, if you're not joining on Periscope, us and a lot of random people at AfterBuzz are just periscoping pre-shows. So join us. No, that moment where it starts to put like the hands come up, and I had no clue in that moment who it was, and then you saw like the bald, dark head, and I'm like, Fury? That's where my brain went first. I'm like,
that would have been pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
If Nick Fury is just like holding down a plane.
How do you do that, Nick
But the
Fury?
fact that Mike Peterson is back, even for a little bit, was super exciting.
Yeah, we haven't seen him since the end of last season, and we were hoping that I was hoping that he would pop up at some point, but he hasn't, because there's been so much other stuff going on. I started thinking that they were never going to bring him back into the show.
Yeah.
Just because, there was so much going on, and Avengers is coming out and everything like that.
Now there's a purpose for him to come back. He's backup, and he's darn good at it.
I know we probably shouldn't get into it, but what do you guys think he's been doing this whole time? Solving mysteries? Fighting crime?
Watching his son from afar.
Yeah, I bet he's been doing like his own TV shows worth of crime solving and fighting.
He's been off in Europe doing the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Europe show.
Bonjour.
He's been tailing Hydra, apparently. But anyway, since we're talking about it anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Coulson and Hunter's part of the story tonight, because that's where Deathlock pops up, and it's just so exciting. I really loved the introduction. Just Coulson talking to a used car salesman.
Oh, man.
Because you really get the two different spy styles with Coulson and Hunter.
Yeah.
Coulson likes low profile.
Gotta let that tiger loose. That's my favorite.
I look at you and I see a man who never lets loose.
Yeah, gotta let that tiger
Does
loose.
he have Coulson all wrong?
Yeah. Tiger's been loose for a long time.
I know, and Hunter's all conspicuous.
He just rolls up in the guy's stolen
subtlety
car.
Is not in my nature.
Just like, whatever. We don't...
Yeah. forget that Hunter was like kind of a free agent before all this, so like even further on when it's like, why don't we just use regular guns against S.H.I.E.L.D. and Coulson has to kind of talk him down from that.
Yeah, he just kind of always does things his own way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Coulson doesn't want to hurt people.
Exactly.
Like, these are good people, like misguided at worst, I think is what you're dealing with.
I mean, especially like the foot soldiers, like I don't think they have any idea what's going on in like the higher machinations of
foot soldiers,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
yes. Gonzalez is debatable. Gonzalez and the rest of the board, and we'll get to that.
Gonzalez has a clear agenda, but I think like just the agents that they sent in to take Hunter and Coulson are just like some S.H.I.E.L.D. guys, like S.H.I.E.L.D. guys who were on that boat and like saw Gonzalez and like Bobby save them. So like of course they're gonna stay loyal to them. Like they saved them from S.H.I.E.L.D. From Hydra.
Yeah, well that's where it gets complicated for everybody involved because like look, S.H.I.E.L.D. crumbled.
Yeah.
And so you had factions sort of raise up, and like we talked about last week, we were talking about Shield of Thrones, or Agents of Thrones, or Game of S.H.I.E.L.D. Game of S.H.I.E.L.D. That
you either win or you die.
But it's Game of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because both of them have a legitimate claim to be S.H.I.E.L.D.
And it kind of also makes you wonder if there's like more S.H.I.E.L.D.s, like if there's like three guys in Denmark who are like, no, we're S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, we had a comment about that on the show. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but like, how many S.H.I.E.L.D.s around the world do you guys think they're waiting to reveal themselves as the real S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Well, the thing that makes this shady though is that we had like Coulson and these S.H.I.E.L.D. like this S.H.I.E.L.D. was like on the news. Like they were like out in the open, like in the world. To want to talk about not being secretive, Gonzalez.
Yeah.
God.
No, that's That's the thing, is it's so frustrating to hear these guys talk about how transparency is like their new motto, their new mission statement, when they've been hanging back, and again, I know we talked about it last week, but they've been hanging back in the shadows while these guys were out on the front lines
fighting Hydra.
Fighting Hydra, which... I guess we can go ahead and talk about it. One of the theories going on right now is that Gonzalez is actually a member of Hydra, because when they found him in that room, he was surrounded by dead bodies and there was nobody else there, and they introduced themselves as not Hydra.
I think that's the less interesting storyline. I think it's more interesting if Gonzalez legitimately is, at least at some viewpoints, like a good guy, like at least is a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, someone who is serving his country, serving S.H.I.E.L.D. to the best that he can. It's just from his point of view, he thinks Coulson is a huge liability, threat, and a huge liability, and thinks that people with powers are huge threats and liabilities, and that's just from his point of view. But other than that, he's a good S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and even in the show that we just watched, he talks to May about like, is your loyalty to S.H.I.E.L.D. or is it to Coulson? And she believes those are one and the same, and I kind of believe the same. Yeah. But like having her like have to make a decision on that was a really interesting moment. But that had nothing to do with Hunter.
He actually gave her a loaded gun. Like that was, and I did like how she's like, not even you're stupid enough to give me a loaded gun, and he's like okay, I guess I'm stupid.
Never underestimate how stupid I am.
But at the same time, like I would actually defend him. Like I think Gonzalez he's sort of like what makes this so complicated and what makes it so intriguing is that I kind of think Gonzalez is on the up and up. Like he gave her the loaded gun because it wasn't about being stupid. It was he trusted her and he wanted her to know.
He trusted her to make the right decision.
Like I trust you because you know what you're doing here.
And you also caught a glimpse of May sort of like mulling it over in her mind. Like usually she's pretty settled on her decisions or on her opinions, but this time it looked like she was kind of believing and understanding what he was telling her.
And I mean,
so he has some sway, some power, and maybe some redeeming qualities that make someone like May think about what he's proposing.
I think Gonzalez might be generally an okay guy, except that he wants to murder Skye.
And he kind of wants to murder Coulson too.
Other than his views on powered people.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like I'd almost be on his side because look, what does he want? He wants a S.H.I.E.L.D. that is not run by one person. He wants a board, and he wants a board that's has diverse opinions.
Yeah.
And when he disagreed with the rest of the board, he deferred to their judgment.
Yeah.
So other than his views on powered people,
just murdering the people we like. Yeah, we know are good people. Like other than that, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's the frustrating part about it is that even if we do assume that he's on the up and up, which again debatable at this point, hearing people talk about, especially just everybody getting lumped into the same category of being enhanced, it's uncomfortable because it's that borderline really racist kind of categorization that they do towards mutants. And I know we're kind of building up to the Inhumans being the mutants. Yeah, I know. But it's so uncomfortable to hear them talk that way because, especially given what Skye's going through and everything like that, it's just, I don't think I want somebody like that in power. I don't want him controlling S.H.I.E.L.D. if that's how he feels about people who have been cybernetically enhanced against their will. Yeah. You know, that sort of thing.
Or biologically enhanced. Well, exactly. I think that's drawing on the analog that originally was used with mutants, but now with Inhumans, where, you know, the X-Men were originally, you know, Charles Xavier was supposed to be this guy who was for peace, so he was very Martin Luther King Jr.-esque, and then, you know, Magneto was very Malcolm X-like, where he was, you know, trying to divide lines and make the lines different. They were both loosely based off of those characters, and so I think that's the kind of tension that originally in the Marvel comic universe is still done, and now in the Marvel movie universe is being used with Inhumans because of rights and all that kind of stuff.
Well, the difference, though, is that what I see here in like the way that Gonzalez is behaving and the way that everybody is talking about, even Gemma when she talks about the Avengers, is that they're sort of doing it in the way that everybody always like is like, what's happening in the comics, where people are super prejudiced against mutants, but everybody else that gets their powers through like a radioactive spider is like, oh, that guy. Well, maybe not in that case. That's poor choice of examples, but like a lot of other powered people, Captain America, or like any of those other.
Yeah, they're hailed as heroes.
Yeah, and where do you draw those, or the Fantastic Four? Like, where do you draw that line of like, these people are powered, we like them, these people are powered, we hate them, they're evil? But like,
I guess it depends on whether or not you were born that way.
Baby, I was born.
Well, actually, I think they have a valid, because they started Avengers with an alien, you know, infestation, an alien invasion. I think what they're doing with Inhumans, which I think is interesting and it makes more sense than the mutant thing, is it's just people who are affected by aliens. Aliens invaded New York and are effectively, as far as we know, aliens are the enemy until we know otherwise. All of us know that aliens aren't necessarily the enemy, but if you are, you know, in the government, anything alien is probably the scariest thing in the world. A giant worm came out of a hole in the sky over New York.
And crashed into Grand Central Terminal.
Could you imagine what they'd do if they ran into Rocket and Groot?
Exactly.
They'd lose their minds.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
to say the least.
They'd be like, these guys are awesome.
No, not if we met them. Not if we met them. They met them.
So, like, the Inhuman fear is pretty legit. Like, there was... I think it's more of an analog with, like, maybe... like Japanese Americans during World War II, where it was like you're considered almost an enemy combatant just because of your heritage, like something, something you don't have any control over.
But I like that. But I see the thing is, I think that you're gonna find that it's gonna grow because it's not just Alien. Like we're looking at the way he's talking about Deathlock.
Again, Deathlock and even Coulson, because he's not just talking about Coulson and Skye. He threw in Deathlock, and I'm sure that if anybody else they came across, like they ever come across Donnie again, like if he gets out of that lake, they'll throw him in the same category. He throw him in the same category as Hyde and basically anybody else who was in any way a
That's
little bit
true.
more than human.
Yeah, but I like that viewpoint. Like, that's a much stronger and logical thing, is just
Yes.
to group all of these people together.
Instead
Because
of
whatever
just the
their
mutants.
whatever their
Right.
origin
Sorry,
story
Edward,
is, like
sorry.
they're either dangerous or they're not. And like it might be a little bit too much of like that's the problem, is that you're saying that these people are dangerous inherently because they have these abilities,
Yeah.
not because they're bad people.
Yeah.
And as they say, it's like no one wants a war, Barbara. A civil war.
Civil War.
But roll credit? No, it's a couple movies
Barbs,
away.
Civil War.
No, that's title credits.
Registration Act.
Anyway, to get back to a little bit to
Sure,
Coulson
yeah.
and Hunter, they hide out in their own little cabin. And poor Coulson, because he's had a lot to deal with. Because not only did he lose S.H.I.E.L.D., he also lost Skye. So in a lot of ways, this could have very much been an entirely introspective episode for Coulson.
Yeah.
Just like, am I even qualified to lead S.H.I.E.L.D.? I lost, everything that I care about in one day. But he didn't. He gets right back up on the horse and keeps going, and that's what we love about him.
He gets right back up on that loose tiger.
Well, the best part is, like, Hunter kind of inspired that in him, which,
Yeah.
would be, like, one of the last places I would think he would sort of go to for that kind of
What?
boost,
My favorite part is Coulson is carrying this briefcase. I'm like, that's all he took was a briefcase? He was like, oh, it's a Howling Commandos field kit. I was like, what? I want that. I don't want it.
21st century Howling
21st
Commandos.
century Howling Commandos field kit. It's like, I want that briefcase. Do you play cards and like a hologram generator or whatever? It's awesome.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was really good. And I love that spy versus spy stuff,
Yeah.
especially the high tech stuff. It's fun when they fall back on that,
Yeah.
on the old timey spy stuff, but it's really cool when they can incorporate the newer technology
Yeah.
too.
We had the better hand.
And it makes for great one-liners.
Yeah.
Ba-dum-tish.
I love the one-liners.
They
Like,
were
Yeah.
so great this
They're
episode.
so corny.
And the jokes,
I
the
love 'em.
references.
Yeah.
And I like that. I liked the build-up that we had for Deathlock too, because Coulson keeps making reference
To
to
backup,
the
yeah.
one agent that he needs, the one form of backup, and
Yeah.
just one agent. We don't need anybody else. And that had us we were guessing Patton Oswalt was gonna pop up.
but that would have been 2
Yeah.
at minimum.
Yeah.
Where are they right now? Did I miss that?
Everybody's asking what happened to the Koenig brothers
Yeah.
or cousins or whatever.
They're brothers.
Yeah. I mean, what shield are
Probably.
they with? They're with Coulson shield.
In theory,
Yeah.
like they were, but
Last
but
time
so
we saw them.
so were Bobby and Mac for
For a
a
little
while.
bit.
Like they could have been on the other shield. They could be on nobody. They could be their own shield.
They're probably
Danish
waiting
guys.
somewhere else.
It's just the purely Koenig brothers shield.
We're gonna make our own shield.
Everybody else is doing it.
No girls are allowed.
Backwards ass.
You need a
Yeah.
lanyard to get in.
Yeah.
No non-Koenigs allowed.
Yeah. No non-Koenigs allowed.
But but then when we actually had the reveal for Deathlock, it was, I
it was a
can't
great
emphasize
reveal.
enough how much we enjoyed that. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that Deathlock's with them for at least one more episode.
Yeah,
Like,
he's there to help.
it's gonna be a fun road trip with
Yeah.
Deathlock.
Sky trip.
Sky trip. Yeah.
Oh wait, that's confusing.
There are characters
That's a
named Sky
ship.
and Trip.
It's a ship name right there.
Air
But-
Trip.
But yeah, how about these performances? Because I am just really looking forward to seeing the three of them, because it was entertaining enough having Coulson and Hunter playing off of each other, because
Yeah.
they have completely different personalities and styles when it comes to getting the job done. And now Deathlock is in there too. And I just love that. And he was like, oh, I just wanted to see your face.
Yeah.
Priceless.
And just like not being able to get the humor. Just I can hear both of you.
I loved Hunter's face, I have to say. But going back to Hunter and Coulson's dynamic, it's cool. Like you mentioned before, the differences between their styles and in the way they act and operate and stuff. But they're both so open to the other's style. I mean,
Yeah.
as much as Coulson disagreed with Hunter's non-subtle way of leaving the car lot, I mean, it still worked, and he understands that Hunter's not acting, stupidly. This is just the way it works for him.
It's like, hey, this is practical. We have no money.
Yeah. And just like Hunter was very open to the way Coulson sort of operates, and I think that Deathlock will be a nice middle ground for the three of them.
Well, and I like that even though they have different styles, it doesn't get in the way of getting the job done.
Yeah,
it's played up purely for comedic effect for the audience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All they need is a baby, and then there's just three men and a baby.
I would watch that.
Shield edition.
As long as it's like an inhuman baby who's like gotten like has had the mist and stuff.
Yeah,
like Jack from The Incredibles.
Yeah, so it's them taking care of like a super-powered baby.
Yeah. Just a baby with super strength, so it's just them getting thrown across the room.
Flashback to Sky as a baby, and like that was actually a thing.
Yeah, sure.
But then Hunter would be a child.
Yeah, that ruins
So I don't know.
really
That
work.
kind of ruins it.
Probably Mike would be really young too. He'd probably be a
you're right.
teenager
It would just
at
be
most.
Coulson at like 20. Like, I've got all these babies.
Marvel, if you're listening to it, I'm pitching right now. S.H.I.E.L.D. babies.
Like Muppet Babies.
Yes,
And
animated
Coulson
show.
is
Put it
the
on
nanny.
the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Can we please?
Do S.H.I.E.L.D. babies?
Somebody please make that fan art a reality.
Just
I want to see
everything
that.
animated by Scotty Young.
Yeah.
Like all the little kid, the baby Avengers.
Yeah.
Oh, those are
things.
adorable.
You know that poster where they've got like all the male Avengers like looking all powerful, and we got Scarlett Johansson with her butt out.
Yeah.
They had like the baby version, and it was like a little baby squeaky butt like, sticking out. I want to see
diaper.
that fan art.
I like it when they reverse that, when they have all the guys doing
that would be
the,
really
the
funny to see too.
curved back and stick.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are way off topic.
Super tangent, my bad.
We are way off topic. We should probably get back to talking about the episode.
Yeah. Sure.
But before I do, I think it's time for our iTunes shout out because guys, we have a lot of awesome stuff to talk about when it comes to the S.H.I.E.L.D. one. Dang it, I had these pulled up and now they're gone. Sorry, I was gonna read off some of the comments because we had some really
It's
great
all right.
comments.
I'll do some shout outs to these guys in the chat roll because you guys are awesome.
let's do the
I
chat
can't even
roll.
keep up because you guys are just having all kinds of conversations. Thank you, David Thomas, N. Saeed, Thomas Sanfrado, Griffin, Tamir Muggo,
I found
Ron
it. When you're all
Corleone, Renato E.
Ron Corleone.
That's his name.
Yeah, I know, it's great.
Clockwork Boy 1, Poetess, to all you guys that I can't find, we don't have enough time.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, somebody says, oh my
That's
god,
amazing.
we're gonna talk about that sandwich.
Oh man,
You better
let's talk about that
believe
Sammy.
Thank you.
We're gonna talk about that sandwich later. But also,
Too young.
I wanted to, a lot of people are talking about throwing around stuff about Gordon, and stick
Gordo.
around for news and gossip later. It's not from, it is news and gossip, so I don't want to talk about it before in case anybody's doesn't want outside spoilers, but I do have some news about Gordon, so stick around.
Oh, I think you mean Gordo.
Yeah, good old classic Gordo.
Gordo.
But let's go ahead and talk. We guys, I have the iTunes pulled up.
Oui, oui.
Thank you guys, everybody who goes to iTunes. It means the world to us. We have 332 ratings.
What?
My prediction
Oh my gosh.
goes right out the window. I think we can make it to 350 now.
Oh my god,
That's
so we're gonna all be wearing
fantastic.
fedoras.
There's
Yes.
6 episodes left. That's plenty of time.
Guys, if you want us to all wear fedoras on the finale, we can make this happen.
It'll happen the episode after, and then it'll happen again at the
Yeah.
finale if we reach 400.
Yeah.
Yay!
You guys are gonna make me wear a fedora, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
We only have 18 interviews to go.
We're not. They
That's what I'm
will.
saying. You guys are gonna make me wear a fedora.
And we've got quite a few
salsa on the top of it.
We have quite a few reviews. We've got This Show Is Great from Stealth8604, AOSAS. Oh wait, I already read those. AfterBuzz S.H.I.E.L.D. AfterBuzz podcast from Kitten Cole 25. First, let me say I love this show. It is one of my favorites on AfterBuzz. You guys are awesome and have great theories and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. And you all have great chemistry with each other, and that's what makes it so enjoyable to watch. Best ever from Mama Little 7. And I can't read all of what everybody has to say because it's just too much. But it warms my heart. Essential component of the show by ZH1085. Fun and thorough from Lou B. Great show from Charlie from the Chi. Thank you, Charlie from the Chi. Excellent show from Caitlin Laurie. Week to week, pretty good. Loses focus a tad. From V-Rath36. It's true. You gotta call them like you see them. Addicted from Writing Humbuggery. Fun. That's a great username, by the way. Fun. Addicted to watching the show from I_Maggie. Awesome
Maggie.
from Michael B85. Best podcast ever. And he says, love all the AV podcasts, especially this one, TY. We have, there's a couple more. Number one podcast / recap show on AfterBuzz. No question from Photo Heric. Sorry, 83. Awesome podcast from Hi Loca. And Matt is in danger from Ion Beast. I am going to read this one because that sounds hilarious. There is a Hydra agent among you on this podcast.
What?
Oh, this is from September. Sorry. Some of the later ones get a little garbled. But guys, thank you so much. We have a total of 230 reviews. 230 reviews.
What?
That's phenomenal.
Guys,
Saul
that is...
Perez's Agents of Fedora.
Saul.
I want to know.
like it.
I like Agents of Fedora and Agents of Aioli. I want to know what those two things stand for.
People, make up the acronym in the comments right now.
I'm tasking you guys in the chat roll. And
I'm
then
more
the
interested
Twitter,
in the aioli one.
Twitter and comments throughout the week. I want to know what those stand for.
Oh, please do. Tell us
And I'm going to go ahead and take this time to say thank you to everybody also using the hashtag. Jillian Davila on Twitter also says she'd be all for a S.H.I.E.L.D. baby show. That would
Heck
be the
yeah.
cutest
Okay.
ever. We got tons of people commenting. Thank you guys. We really appreciate it. And be sure to use the hashtag all week long because we do keep an eye on it. It's exciting.
Also, thank you to the people who do the YouTube comments as well. Yeah, I try and respond to the ones that I think are interesting throughout the week as well.
So if Jesse's not responding, guys.
If I'm not
gotta step-
responding, then you got to step your game up. I'm sorry.
Anyway,
let's dive back in.
Yeah, before we
Shut
get
up.
off
Sorry.
track
Yeah, sure.
again, because we do tend to lose focus a little bit,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and talk about Lincoln and Sky, because that was a huge part of this week's episode. And Lincoln is her basically transition guide person.
Yeah.
I'm your
We know he's going
transitioner.
through med school, right? He's a doctor of sorts.
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, he said he's from Cincinnati and he's trying to finish med school.
Yeah.
But he's like taking some time off to like
Go to
run this
Afterlife.
in Human City.
Which this place seems really cool. It kind of seems like a rec center place.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
the way they describe it is that it's kind of like a way station in that people are always kind of coming and going. They come when they need to or when they're needed.
But no one knows where it is except for Gordon, which
Right.
is super cool.
It could be in China. It might not be in China. Who
Yeah.
knows where it is?
And when they were about to say the name of it, I was freaking out because if they like had said Kunlun, I would have gone crazy because that leads into Iron Fist, which would have been awesome.
Iron Fist is being one of the new shows that Netflix is going to be doing
Yeah.
after Daredevil and after Jessica Jones.
And-
Probably the last one.
I think it might be the last
Luke
one,
Cage
yeah.
is the third.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And but because he's getting his own show, that's not
Yeah,
what
there's
we
no
have.
reason to have him in there.
I mean, well, we're getting Humans in 2015,
That's
and the
true.
movie's not coming for another 4 years.
Yeah.
We've got time. It's a slow burn. It's going to be a slow burn.
God.
But yeah, could you imagine if they already have the next 4 years of the show planned out just to tie? And I'm sure they do, actually, in a way. But anyway,
Lincoln has electricity powers.
yeah,
And
that's
I
pretty
sensed
sweet.
a little electricity between the two of them.
Did you see a spark?
I saw a spark.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I was waiting for someone to make that pun.
Hey, leave it to me. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Well, but yeah, that's really cool because I like that, and I kind of like the way that they're approaching it. They come on. It's kind of interesting. It's a kind of a weird paradox because they come off as this judgment-free place that's here to nurture and help and teach, but they're just as scared of Sky and Raina as everybody else in the world at the moment.
Because we learned that they jumped the queue. Like that usually it's like a process that like they decide whether or not you're worthy of Terrigenesis, and these two got the Terrigenesis, not only did they jump the queue, but they did it the old school way in a Kree temple
Yeah.
And it was
with a
interesting.
diviner.
It was interesting to hear also the way he talked about that, because he said not only did you do it without permission,
Yeah.
you did that, which makes it sound like they purposely did something wrong even though they weren't aware of it, which makes me wonder if this group of elders that they mention is going to rule that they need to be punished.
Yeah.
Like accused of. I wonder if the elders are Kree.
And that might be it.
We're not
makes
sure
sense.
that they have their own little gavels and that they're going to go
Tiny
around
little Kree
accusing
Or they
people.
might have like a full-on
big
accuser staff,
gavel.
like Ronins.
Yeah.
And it also makes me wonder how much about the Kree they actually know, because this entire community seems very deep-rooted in tradition. But when Skye says that she heard it directly from a Kree,
Yeah.
that they were meant to be weapons, it doesn't even faze Lincoln.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't even register it.
But I think he knows that they're supposed to be weapons, but he's like talking about redirecting that energy. Redirecting whatever your gift is to not be as destructive.
It just makes
Making
me
it
wonder
go
about
afloat.
their history and philosophy and how much they actually know.
Yeah.
And also sort of their transparency. It didn't seem like he was super 100%, open about, what's really going on.
No, he full on lied to her.
Just like, he told her that Reyna, wasn't around.
Yeah,
Well, no,
that she
it
was
was like a
the
weird
way he
obfuscation
phrased
It was
of
kind of
the
like a
truth.
roundabout.
Yeah.
It was lying by
yeah.
omission.
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. And it kind of mirrors like New Shield or Real Shield and regular Shield.
It mirrors
Yeah.
what's going on, because the mentality behind the lie was that he was lying for a good reason,
Yeah.
because each person is entitled to their own growth and development. Everybody's on their own path, but it was also a safety issue because he doesn't know what either of their powers are,
Yeah.
and they clearly are not happy when they see each other, so it's a
Yeah.
safety issue. And he almost burned down the place when he was brought in there without meaning to. Who knows what two people who are at odds
Yeah.
would do with unstable powers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Reyna's in a real dark place, literally and also mentally. She's like in a weird
I feel
spot.
she just wants to go. She
Yeah.
just wants to die. Doesn't want to be. This is not what she expected whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, something that's very different between the cinematic universe in Humans and the book in Humans is that in the show we're seeing that the majority of people are coming out still normal on the surface.
Yeah.
In the comics, most people have some sort of physical
Right.
alteration where
I
they
think
look
that's-
like an alien.
I think
Right.
that's partially a budget issue.
it's gotta be a budget.
Yeah.
There's a logistics aspect
and
to
the other
it.
thing is a lot of the people who were actually there hadn't gone through the process
Yeah,
yet.
that as well.
They haven't been transformed yet.
Well, I just mean like who we met so far.
Yeah.
We've met Skye's
Only
mom.
Reyna.
We've met Skye and Lincoln, and Gordon has just like a one thing, like his eyes.
But they all
Otherwise, he
still
looks
look
normal.
pretty human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until otherwise, I'm going to assume that 1 out of every 3 doors in Afterlife is also an Inhuman.
Doorman.
Eldrag.
Yeah, they're all Inhuman doors.
If you missed last week's show, we talked about it.
There's an
That's
Inhuman
a
who
real
is a
thing.
door.
There's an Inhuman who turned into a
Yeah.
living door
Yeah.
who can transport you to wherever it is you need to be.
I
Yeah,
think that's
that's
a
the whole
pretty
thing.
friggin' cool power.
That's a cool
is.
power, but as a door, you
know.
don't
Yeah.
actually get to go.
I know.
But
But you can help people. You could also cause a lot of trouble.
You get to
Who
help
knows?
other
Yeah.
people have adventures. You don't get to have any adventures of your
Sad.
own.
so
It's a lonely life.
Mr. Hyde is there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's one hut that's it's another training sort of facility, was the way that Lincoln put it, but it has no windows and no doors.
And they
There's no
don't use it anymore,
Yeah.
quote unquote.
I thought that's where Reyna was.
No, that's where Hyde was.
Well,
Because didn't we see Gordon go in the direction of that hut?
guys, be sure to let us know, because we don't know if the unused one was where they were keeping Hyde, or if it was where they were
Reyna,
keeping
yeah.
Reyna.
I thought it
could
was
be
Reyna because like that's where Skye
Skye
is
knew
like
exactly where she was.
Oh, Reyna's here. It's probably that building that you told me is a training center, but nobody's using it
Okay.
anymore.
Because
Fair enough.
How would Skye know where it was? where Reyna was being held, unless it was that one place.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
True.
Anyway, regardless, doesn't matter where they're keeping him. What matters is that he can't get out, and he's throwing a little tantrum like a baby.
And Gordon and him have a really cool fight sequence. That was really
That was a
fun.
really great fight sequence.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a wonder to watch Gordon fight because, like, it's just so great to see him use his powers of teleportation, not just to get pizza, but to take down a guy who tore
Straight
through
from
a
Chicago.
village.
Come on, guy. You can go anywhere in the world for pizza, and you go for Chicago. New York,
do
or
not start
Italy.
this. Do not
You're going to start a flame war in the
start
comments.
I
such a
welcome
fight.
it. Bring it on. New York pizza forever.
I am
You know why
pro
you has
deep
a good-
dish.
You know why you has a good pizza? Seattle. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
I just wanted to throw a counter thing in there.
Pizza aside, Gordon
Never
didn't get
aside.
pizza. He was too busy beating the crap out of Cal.
Well, and his basic thing to Cal is like Cal needs to learn to calm down.
Yeah.
And he's like, either because of you endangered both Reyna and Sky, and that there's going to be some sort of action against them. And his big thing was like, you need to organize yourself. And then the next time we see him, I don't know if you guys saw this, but he's like made piles of all of the debris that he had in the room.
He's trying to clean up.
Yeah, it looks like maybe he's trying to show like, look, I've calmed down. I've made a pile of this one over here. I've made a pile of this one over here.
Please note the piles of debris to
Yeah.
prove that I'm
like
not insane.
The most organized hoarder I've ever seen.
But it was like him trying to show that he'd changed.
Yeah.
Trying.
Yeah.
Because he normally acts on impulse, but those impulses never go well, or they're never executed the way that maybe he intends.
Yeah.
Well, I think what it boils down to is that he wanted to
full of
get
rage.
out of there. He was so angry because he thought S.H.I.E.L.D. had Sky and was like holding her prisoner and was going to like do experiments on her. He's like, you have to let me go. I have to go save my daughter. But once he knows that she's there and she's safe, he's like, oh, okay. It's
He
all
did
good.
calm
I'm gonna-
down, definitely.
Here's the
I
desk.
love that he was like, I forgive you.
And it seems like, is it Jia Ying?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we need to talk about her.
Started a
Seems
fight
like-
in the chat room about pizza.
Of course you did. Who's on Team Seattle
He
Pizza?
did. He did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, we could talk about Jia Ying after you introduce her, because we were surprised to see her.
Let's go ahead and talk about
like,
her
whoa.
because holy cow! What? It was even more surprising than seeing Deathlock
Deathlock.
again
Yeah.
because it's like this was somebody who was mutilated.
We saw
by
their
Hydra.
insides taken out.
Yeah.
Yeah, her
Yeah.
insides were outside.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, her face was all patched up, it looked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got scars, and she's introducing her. You know, she doesn't introduce herself as Sky's mother. She just says, "I'm Jia Ying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be your guidance counselor if you're cool with that."
Yeah.
I know that it's a Marvel universe, and I know like dead never means dead.
Yeah.
But that was pretty dead. Like,
That was super dead.
It has me wondering, maybe it is a inhuman who has the ability to like
Regenerate?
resurrect or inhabit like a dead body or
It's-
something like that. Like,
It's
Or-
possible
But
that
her mind is still the same.
yeah, so like maybe like a parasitic like inhuman
well,
that
then
can like
why would she
resurrect.
refer to herself as it's our daughter? Why would
Because
she?
to
That's-
calm
yeah, that's
down
why her mind is the
Mr.
same.
Hyde.
Maybe I
Like,
don't know.
to keep the asset in check, you would want him to think that his
He's
wife.
not going anywhere though. They have him right
I
where
don't
they
know.
want him.
I think
so,
there
yeah.
is a very good Marvel explanation as to why I think it's really Jia Ying, and I think there's going to be a good explanation as to
That's
why
possible.
she's
I mean,
back.
yeah.
Maybe she has like bionic intestines. I don't know.
I
Like,
mean, my
Bio-intestine.
first thought is that because Whitehall, basically what happened was she got taken apart and Whitehall stole a bunch
Yeah.
of her organs, so she was dead. But she has this crazy healing abilities. So
Yeah.
if
Oh, yeah.
you like took Whitehall and like took back the organs and like sewed her back. I thought that was the implication with the scars, and that they like sewed her back together.
Another possibility is just that she happens to have massive regenerative properties, and that what they did left scars, but that there was still enough of her left to still regenerate.
Wolverine-esque.
What I want to look back on, and we can't because not all of the episodes are available online anymore, like on Hulu, but I want to go back to every time Hyde talked about his family, because I remember him mentioning that Whitehall mutilated his wife. Did he ever use the word killed? Because if he never said killed, because it looks like he's well aware that she's been alive for some time.
I'm pretty sure she said dead.
Yeah.
Or he said dead.
If anybody happens to have episode transcripts, let us know, because it would be really weird, but if he never mentioned that, I just don't know how to feel about that, because I'm sure at some point he said Whitehall killed my wife.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his secret to staying as young as he did, right before he died.
Yeah, so I just have so many questions.
Well, you also think he might, if he's trying to get Skye to come over to his side, he might say, like, your mother is still alive.
And
you should come meet her.
Something we haven't considered is that maybe she's alive because of something he did. Because he experimented on himself, and that's one of the reasons why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
Maybe he did something and it happened to bring her back but left scars. And maybe she's... I don't know.
Maybe she didn't come back right.
He buried her in the pet cemetery.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
I gotta give a shout out for the craziest wild swing of a theory to Ron Corleone, who says Agent 33 is pretending to be Skye's mom.
Whoa, that would be crazy. That would be crazy.
Seeing as
how did she get there?
Yeah, as only Gordon can take.
And she's only with Ward, who hasn't been around and who has probably no idea of this place.
He's coming back.
Yeah,
he is.
Oh gosh, that's going to be an interesting, not trio. What's the word for when there are four of them?
Quadro. No, a quorum.
Quorum?
Yeah, quorum.
It's going to be
people.
an interesting quorum then.
Yeah.
If Ward actually does agree to help them. But anyway.
Well, also Agent 33, so it'd be a.
And Bakshi. I don't know the words for all those people.
It's getting complicated.
Anyway, sadly we are running a little short on time, and we've got news and gossip to talk about. But there is one more thing I want to talk about. Yeah, I want to talk about Fitz and Simmons and Bobby and Mac in this episode.
Yeah.
Because while May and Gonzalez are having their verbal tete-a-tete, Bobby is trying to implore Fitz to come over to the real S.H.I.E.L.D. Mac is trying to implore Fitz to come over to the real S.H.I.E.L.D. Bobby's trying to convince Simmons, and for a bit, it looks like it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we find out that there is a plan, a grand scheme.
I am so happy I was wrong, because when Fitz and Simmons were actually...
So nice.
Yeah, I was hurt. We were hoping that it was all part of their plan for Fitz to get Fury's toolbox out of the facility.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, but it was still, not knowing that for sure, I was kind of because we've been theorizing that maybe Simmons would leave. So it was really hurtful to see them part ways.
Yeah.
And then it was great validation to see them come, to see the truth behind it, and to see that sandwich.
They're coming back together. They're slowly making their way back to being the normal Fitzsimmons that we know and love. And yeah, the sandwich, I feel, just sealed the deal.
They did the oldest spy trick in the book, the old switcheroo.
Yeah.
They poisoned the wine.
Nobody searched Fitz's bag.
I know.
When
After
he
his
left.
checkout,
Super spy agency.
Yeah, this spy agent.
That's so true. They scanned his body.
They were just checking for notes and stuff that he might have taken.
But to think that he wouldn't be cautious enough to not have it just in the backpack.
Yeah.
Not hidden somehow.
I'm not convinced that he is scot-free either. I don't feel like you just leave the biggest spy agency in the world and you can just take a cab and leave.
Yeah.
There's gotta be.
There's gotta be a tail on
He's
him,
gotta
or
have a
some sort
shadow,
of monitor, or some sort of tracking device. There is something tailing him. But
that was so nice. The sandwich. Come on.
But and let's call attention to the fact, not only was I was just so excited with the sandwich, if you look at the little note, it says "Love Gemma."
I love that part so much. Really, because it made me hungry.
Although the moment he like picked up the sandwich and he was going to take a bite, I was like, "Oh no,
Something's gonna happen.
Oh no,
the cab is gonna hit a bump. And it's just gonna fly out.
Maybe that sandwich is an inhuman.
Everything is an inhuman.
Sandwich man.
Yeah.
Every inanimate object.
I went through Pterogenesis and became a sandwich.
What is your power? What would your power be? Toasting your enemies to death?
Just being real flavorful.
Seriously though, I really want to go get some like buffalo mozzarella and prosciutto and some
With
pesto
pesto
aioli.
aioli.
Just a hint of pesto aioli.
Oh, I'd like to add some tomato to that.
You don't customize the sandwich. The sandwich is the sandwich.
Gemma would make it the way I like it, okay?
Some of us will have deep dish pizza. Some of us.
Guys, we got to stop talking about food. I'm starving.
Look,
anyway.
I remember saying it when I first saw the episode. There is nothing sexier that a woman can do than to make a man his favorite sandwich.
No comment. No comment.
I feel like that might be 2 steps backwards.
Anyway.
I'm not saying there's any expectations or that the guy shouldn't also be making a sandwich for the girl.
Oh,
you should
double
go.
sandwich.
Everybody should be making sandwiches for everybody. I'm just saying. It's really.
Sandwiches
We
all the way
need to
down.
move on. We need to move on past the sandwiches.
Well, I think another important thing to know is it sounds like Bobby is real hesitant now that the real S.H.I.E.L.D. is in charge. She's kind of fighting Gonzalez on a lot of the stuff he's saying.
I was noticing that like he was very dismissive of her in this episode, and I don't think she likes that because for one, they lied about using real ammunition on Skye, and when she tries to tell him about Agent May, he dismisses her and doesn't bring it up again until he's outvoted by the rest of the board, or supposedly outvoted. Maybe he was listening to her and just said he got outvoted.
He also hardline tells people that his agents were attacked by Skye.
Yeah.
Like, he mentions that Skye is attacking people, and she was clearly defending herself.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Exactly.
A shot is fired, and then she's like, "No, I don't want to die."
If she hadn't defended herself, she would be dead at this moment because that
Exactly.
bullet was heading straight towards her face.
Yeah.
So, no, none of this. She attacked S.H.I.E.L.D. agents with families. Don't you feel bad for them? No, I don't feel bad for them because they were using live rounds when they should have been using icers.
You know what? Skye is our family.
Yeah, exactly.
She is our family, and you shot at her.
But he's using that hard line to kind of get people onto his side, that these powered people are dangerous. Like,
That's exactly, that's exactly what politicians do.
Exactly,
They
like-
use their rhetoric
like he doesn't-
to push their agenda.
he doesn't know that there might be a sandwich person out there who's not trying to kill any S.H.I.E.L.D. agents as long as they're not allergic to garlic.
We're just going to appreciate that image for a moment. Anyway, I guess that basically wraps it up for this week's episode, though. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about before we move on to news and gossip? Any favorite moments you want to throw out there or any other things?
I'm just excited. I love this spy versus spy kind of stuff. I'm just super excited about it. And I'm looking forward to seeing like the complicated character that Gonzalez is turning into. He's not like a classic TV bad guy. Like, it would be so easy to make him just like, this guy is detestable, and then that's it. He has a lot of good points, and he's a really good antagonist for this series.
Yeah, because you see his point on a lot of it, but then there's just like, but he has just enough that we don't like, because he doesn't like our guy, and he's like a little bit racist against our people.
Yeah, exactly.
But
He probably just thinks everyone's a Cylon.
That's he's been burned too many times on that.
but yeah, it's good. Like we don't know. We don't want to hate him. That's why I don't think he's Hydra. Sorry, that's what I was trying to get.
Yeah.
I don't think he's Hydra, and that's because the villain that we've got with him is so good.
Yeah.
The Hydra thing would make it boring.
Yeah, it would just make it a real
Too convenient.
kind of
Yeah, and the other thing to mention about this episode is just speaking of Hydra, we do have one more Hydra person to take down. There was one person that escaped getting their heads lopped off, so to speak. He got away. list got away, and that's who Deathlock has been tailing for the last few months, and that's why they're going to Ward to get help.
He's on Coulson's list.
Yeah.
We kept trying to think of whether or not list was an acronym for something.
Yeah, I thought it was like something
like everything else on the show.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess that covers it. Let's go ahead and talk about news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Yeah.
Zach has some great news for us.
So I was reading some comic books this week, as I am inclined to do.
Yeah, you're an adult.
And I picked up, last week they released Uncanny Inhumans #0, which is going to be a new series, Uncanny Inhumans, they're coming out with. And I found Gordon!
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those of you watching, we have pictures.
If not, like you can just Google this. It's been put up. Like they open this these two new Inhumans open this portal, and inside is this crazy demon creature and a guy with no eyes.
Sky is drawn really differently in the comic books than she is.
But then we go to the next one, go back. No, too far. Way too far.
There we go. There's a Gordon.
Yeah, and then so we see him more close up, and they're coming through this portal, and then we go to the next one, and they call him Gordon.
Yeah.
Gordon, grab the girl. We shall have our vengeance. And whoever these two people are, were banished to this other realmly prison 2,000 years ago. By the great King Kalden, who I'm assuming is just an old Inhuman king.
Sure.
But and then we go to the next one, and Gordon's being he's being snarky, like Gordon on the TV show.
Good old Gordon.
It's like, do not move, Gordon. Oh, I'm staying right here. And then he pushes his friend out the door.
I never liked you.
Yeah, goodbye, Snarkle. I never liked you. Apparently the demon is named Snarkle.
That's guy.
But yeah, so basically what that just said is Gordon is an original character.
That's so cool.
And was he planned ahead of time, or did the comic book writers know that this was going to happen, or did they introduce Gordon on S.H.I.E.L.D. and then?
I think they knew they were introducing Gordon on S.H.I.E.L.D. and they decided to put him into
the universe.
The Inhumans. That's why they're putting him in a new book.
Yeah.
Because people that have now just heard the name Inhumans see a #0 on the shelf, and they're like, "Oh, I'll pick that up," and they get to see a character they recognize.
There's probably some conversation between the show writers and the comic book writers.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
I mean, it's a good collaboration.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's good to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting what they do with him in the comic universe, since he is an original character, and they can take the comic in a different direction than S.H.I.E.L.D. is going. They can do whatever.
They may do nothing with it, but I think
it might have just been a thing.
Yeah, because he doesn't leave that little prison in the story, but and we don't know that the 2,000 years thing is at all linked to the show. But they're just, this is the comics version, the 616 version, and the MCU version.
Yeah,
and that's cool. I'm glad that we have characters from. Just like May was an original character, now she's in the comics universe.
So cool.
You can come up with new characters on screen. That's what makes it more fun.
And some of the most iconic, I hate to say it, comic book characters have been done that way. Harley Quinn started out on the Batman animated series, and now she's a staple in the DC universe.
Yeah, and I kind of like that both the movie universe and the comic universe are now kind of having a conversation. Yeah, they're now influencing each other instead of just the comics influencing the movies. Mm-hmm. Now the movies are influencing the way the comics are moving as well. I think that's
synergy.
I think that's synergy. Ergonomics. I think that's a really interesting kind of way that the corporation is moving forward. It'd be interesting to see how it goes even further.
I love it.
Creative collaboration can only be a good thing. The one kind of bummer is that our theory about him being the Reader, that's been debunked. But
that means we could still get the Reader later.
Exactly. There's nothing to say.
Blind buddies.
They can hang out with Daredevil.
After S.H.I.E.L.D. babies, it's blind buddies.
They'll form their own club.
It's 3 people. It's Gordon, the Reader, and Daredevil. They're just hanging out.
3 blind men.
Yeah.
That's the new show.
3 blind mice.
Well done.
Leave it to me, I told you.
They all own a pizza shop.
fight crime,
New York
solve mysteries,
style
and
pizza.
deliver your pizza on
well,
time because Gordon can teleport. Sure. You have your pizza in 5 seconds or less. That'd be great.
Do we have time for predictions?
We do have one more bit of news. I don't know when they announced it, but Jimmy Kimmel is going to have most of the cast of the Avengers on Monday night.
Cool.
Be sure to check that out because that's going to be really cool to see them all talk about the movie. All right, let's go into predictions really quick. We got to wrap it up because we're running late.
Real quick, Calm Weather Sean is saying Coulson is original character. Actually, he's not. He was a smaller time agent in the comics before he was ever in the movies. They just blew him up for the movie world.
That's awesome.
They just evolved him.
Now he's got his own show. See, Gordon, the sky's the limit. Anyway, predictions. Because next week we find out why May is called the Cavalry.
Yeah.
Which is going to have a lot of feels.
Yeah.
But it looks
What could it possibly be?
It looks like one inhuman or somehow enhanced person comes back and that she has some sort of vendetta. It sounds like it might be the same person, but I assumed that person was dead.
Yeah.
That the person that May had to take down when she earned her name, the Cavalry, because that was an enhanced person that was manipulating people around her. If it's her, then that is all sorts of terrible. But if it's not her, I don't know who else it would be.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any ideas, any thoughts?
Based off of her talking about pain and stuff like that, this is not a deep pull, but there's a Daredevil villain called Typhoid Mary that kind of shared similarities in that preview.
Yeah, she didn't look good. She didn't look good.
I don't think it's her, but like it might be. Who knows? That'd be interesting.
I don't know. I mean, I don't really have predictions really for this episode, but I think I just said it while we were watching. This definitely look like flashbacks. I don't think it's something that we'll see. Like, she's not going to repeat her actions that gave her the title as Cavalry.
It's just a backstory.
It'll just be a backstory.
It'll be like when we watched The Day S.H.I.E.L.D. fell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think that looking at this, I think May is going to take that seat on the board, and I think that ultimately this is going to be S.H.I.E.L.D.
There you go. That's something I was thinking about too. Maybe she'll change the course of Real S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I think maybe the board might vote and make Coulson the director of Real S.H.I.E.L.D. Much to
Take that, Gonzalez.
She'll turn it around in, old S.H.I.E.L.D.'s favor.
Yeah.
Or Coulson be chairman of the board.
Yeah, exactly.
Or she might very well just turn against Coulson.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I highly doubt that. Of all the people on the show,
May's
she's
not gonna
the
turn against
last
Coulson.
person to turn against him.
Which is what would make it so shocking.
I don't think it's going to happen. But
Shock value.
what
writing.
we do know is happening is that our trio is trying to track down Grant Ward, and right now they have Bakshi and Madame Mask.
Yeah.
Basically confirmed, right?
Yeah.
And what's interesting about Bakshi is I wonder how much sway he still has in Hydra.
Yeah.
And if they use him, it would be very interesting to see how much of Hydra's assets and personnel he has access to that Ward would be able to use on a whim. That would be interesting.
That would be weird.
Yeah, do you think Ward winds up
Director of Hydra.
Shadow director of Hydra.
No, but if he winds up truly teaming up with Coulson, if there's
that might happen.
I mean, there's gonna be a reluctant team up ahead, but but longer term, if Ward's intentions if some of his intentions sort of come out to the surface that we haven't really seen yet.
If he's in deep cover, deep cover, he's a triple agent.
Would he be a quadruple agent?
Or
at this
quadruple
point?
agent.
He's killed way too many innocent people to be that redeemable. So.
I don't think he's he's working for S.H.I.E.L.D. at all, but but he could have a story that would get him back in Coulson's good graces.
I don't know. It would take a lot, but it'll be interesting to see what a reluctant team up would bring if he would agree to it at all. But guys, I'm sad to say that wraps it up for this week. We're getting the wrap up sign, so I'm afraid we have to go. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Jesse Klein, where can the people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1, JessKlein, the number 1. Also, starting next week, I'm going to be doing Daredevil with Zach over here.
Nice.
And you can find me doing live comedy pretty much everywhere around Los Angeles, even if I'm not wanted.
Zach.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at that Zach Wilson, ThatZachWilson. And also here at AfterBuzz, we just wrapped up Better Call Saul. Grimm is on Sunday nights, and next week we're gonna be doing, just to let you guys know, we're gonna be doing, I think, 2 episodes per show, like per week, and we'll be doing it that way throughout the next couple months.
Wednesday at 7:30.
It'll be sometime Wednesday nights.
Yeah, it's Wednesday night.
Stay tuned for the exact times and
Cool.
details.
Fantastic. Joyce.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JAJOURI. And Gotham comes back next Monday, so I'll be on those podcasts.
Nice.
Fantastic. And I'm Megan. You can follow me on Twitter at TheMenguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz. Last week, AfterBuzz covered the Daredevil premiere. I'm the reason that happened, but you can check out Meredith interviewing the stars. It's awesome. No, it's great. And I've also started writing articles for the Movie Chick, so be sure to check those out. Folks, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate everything you guys do for us. Please rate, leave a comment. We can't wait to talk to you guys next week. We will see you then. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.